Because his 3-year-old daughter, Lucy Thompson, bit his first love, the husband locked her in a dark room. The daughter cried and screamed, but the husband sneered, "Little bitch, you like to bite, so why are you crying now? Eneen's scared, let Eneen out, please, Daddy." The daughter desperately begged in the dark room, but all she got in return was her husband's stern rebuke, "You dare to bite Auntie Amy at only 3 years old. What will you be like when you grow up? Suffer your punishment and think about what you've done." The husband closed the door, locked the windows, and threw his daughter into the pitch-black room. The daughter roared and cried in despair, her hands desperately clawing at the only sliver of light from the crack in the door. 5 days later, the husband decided to end the punishment. But what he didn't know was that his daughter's 10 fingers were already a bloody mess, revealing the white bones beneath. Why hasn't that little bitch been making trouble these last few days? Has she finally realized her mistake and started thinking about what she's done? We still need to punish her so she can learn to be sensible and have good manners. The secretary next to Jack Thompson's face changed. "Mr. Thompson." Lucy Thompson. She seems to still be locked in the dark room. A flicker of emotion crossed Jack Thompson's eyes, but it quickly disappeared. "It's okay, a few more days will temper her. She dared to bite Amy at only 3 years old, she needs to be taught a lesson." The secretary wrung her hands together, hesitating for a long time before saying, "Boss, there's a bad smell coming from the dark room where Lucy Thompson is locked up. Do you want to go take a look?" Jack Thompson frowned upon hearing this, a look of disgust flashing across his face. "Don't disgust me, of course, there's a smell. That little bitch is like a pig, eats a lot and shits a lot, how could there not be a smell? But, boss, you didn't prepare any food. D for Lucy Thompson." The secretary's cautious voice touched a nerve with Jack Thompson. He pointed his finger at the secretary and roared, "So what if I didn't prepare food? Do you know that a person can live for 60 days on water alone? The dog bowl in that dark room is full of clean water, enough for that little bastard to last a month." The secretary turned pale with fright and didn't dare to say anything more. Seeing this, Jack Thompson calmed down a bit, saying impatiently, "Lucy Thompson is still my daughter after all, I won't be too cruel. I'll let her out tomorrow, she should be obedient and sensible after these few days of punishment. After she comes out, she can kowtow and apologize to Amy, and that will be the end of it." As soon as he finished speaking, Amy Johnson walked out of the bedroom barefoot and sat on Jack Thompson's lap without any reservations. The secretary looked embarrassed and tactfully left. Jack Thompson stroked Amy Johnson's fair thighs, his eyes full of tenderness. "Amy, did you sleep well?" Amy Johnson buried her head in Jack Thompson's arms and sobbed softly, "I still have nightmares. When I close my eyes, I see Lucy Thompson's ferocious face biting me." Her eyes contained pain. "Jack, it's not that I can't get over it with a 3-year-old, but you really can't understand that feeling. The way a little child looks at you with such resentment as she bites you, it's really scary, it gives me nightmares." Jack Thompson quickly stroked Amy Johnson's forehead, comforting her softly, "Amy, I understand. Most of the scary, vengeful spirits in those horror movies are children. A child's deep resentment is scary. Not just you, anyone would have nightmares. Don't worry, I've already punished Lucy Thompson severely. She won't dare to be presumptuous in front of you again." "Jack Gidge, you're so good to me." Amy Johnson wrapped her arms around Jack Thompson's neck, her tone coquettish. "But Jack, don't scare Lucy Thompson too much. After all, she's only 3 years old. As long as she apologizes to me, I won't hold it against her." "Amy, you're too generous," Jack Thompson said, deeply moved. "When I rushed into the house, ignoring the secretary's attempts to stop me, I saw the two of them embracing sweetly." Jack Thompson's lips lightly touched Amy Johnson's forehead, and Amy Johnson's face was pressed against his chest. "Seeing this scene, I sneered, are you being this blatant now? When Amy Johnson saw me, she hurriedly scrambled out of Jack Thompson's arms, explaining with a flushed face, "Sister-in-law, don't misunderstand. I wasn't feeling well, and Jack Gidge was just giving me a massage." I glanced at her indifferently. No need to explain. Jack Thompson slowly straightened his clothes, a mocking arc forming at the corner of his mouth as he looked at me. "Emma Smith, didn't you say you'd never set foot in this villa again? What's wrong? Do you miss me?" Looking at the playfulness and smugness in Jack Thompson's eyes, I felt a wave of nausea. The 8th of last month was my 5th wedding anniversary with Jack Thompson, and he said he wanted to give me a surprise. I waited for him on the mountaintop for 5 hours, until it poured rain, but he never showed up. At the same time, Jack Thompson's little darling posted a status update on Instagram, geolocating it at the mountain villa. First love is a season of flowers, its lingering fragrance long and sweet. In the photo, the two of them were lying on a heart-shaped bed, holding hands. There were several obvious lip prints and scratches on Jack Thompson's neck. Only then did I realize that Jack Thompson had abandoned me on the mountaintop for 5 hours because he was having a tender tryst with Amy Johnson in the villa. When Jack Thompson called to explain, I simply replied with 2 words, "Divorce." All my feelings for him had been worn away by the accumulated heartache and disappointment. The 5-hour wait on the mountaintop had put an end to this marriage. But Jack Thompson desperately tried to explain, "Emma, don't be jealous, okay? Amy is not only my first love, but also my childhood sweetheart. We grew up together, we're like siblings, what's wrong with teasing and joking around? Our relationship is innocent, we're not afraid of worldly eyes. Only those with dirty minds see everything as dirty. Besides, I only ran into Amy in the mountains by chance. You probably don't know, Amy has been weak since she was little, she can't stand any rain. I took her to the villa just to take shelter from the rain." Such a gentlemanly and positive action, and you're angry and jealous? I think your values are skewed, you should think about it. Jack Thompson, I'm still on the mountaintop. Jack Thompson's tone was anxious. "Emma, wait for me, I'll come pick you up right away." I waited another hour on the mountaintop until the rain stopped, but Jack Thompson never came. In the end, I stumbled down the muddy mountain road. I didn't see Jack Thompson rushing out until I reached the entrance of the villa. When he saw me, he quickly explained, "I'm sorry, Emma, I was going to pick you up, but Amy accidentally sprained her ankle and it swelled up like a pigeon egg. I just finished taking care of her." I looked at the ankle, swollen to the size of a goose egg, and didn't say a word. I was so disappointed that any words would have been superfluous. "Emma, don't catch a cold, hurry up and go to the villa to change your clothes," Jack Thompson said, seemingly concerned. Amy Johnson walked out slowly from inside, her eyes full of playfulness and provocation, her leisurely and composed demeanor that of the mistress of the villa. "Jack Thompson, I will never set foot in this villa again." I left after saying those words. "Emma Smith, didn't you say you'd never set foot in this villa again?" The mockery in Jack Thompson's eyes was almost overflowing. I didn't feel like arguing with him about this. I stepped forward and said loudly, "Jack Thompson, kindergarten has already started after summer vacation. Where is Lucy Thompson? Why isn't she going to kindergarten?" Hearing the name Lucy Thompson, Jack Thompson's eyes became impatient. "I sent Lucy Thompson back to my hometown, and I'll bring her back tomorrow." I frowned, my intuition telling me that Jack Thompson was lying. "No, I want to see Lucy Thompson, make a video call to your people." "Emma Smith, are you ever going to stop?" Jack Thompson suddenly roared at me. "Are you using Lucy Thompson as an excuse to deliberately cause trouble?" "I'm just worried about Lucy Thompson's safety." Jack Thompson sneered, "I'm Lucy Thompson's biological father. Would I hurt her? Don't worry, I'll send Lucy Thompson to school safe and sound tomorrow morning." "Aren't you in the hospital?" You don't need to worry about these things, just focus on getting treatment in the hospital. Jack Thompson's perfunctory and impatient attitude made me even more uneasy. Although I've been in the hospital these past few days, my mind has been restless. I just had a nightmare where Lucy Thompson was covered in blood, begging me for help. A mother's heart is connected to her daughter's. After I woke up, I ran straight out of the hospital. I wouldn't rest until I saw Lucy Thompson. I looked at Jack Thompson with firm eyes. I must see Lucy Thompson today. Jack Thompson became even more irritable, his breathing becoming rapid. Emma Smith, are you deliberately trying to find fault? If you're jealous of Amy Johnson, just say it. Don't use Lucy Thompson as an excuse to make trouble. Don't you feel hypocritical and disgusting? I stared at Jack Thompson coldly. I wouldn't care even if you slept with Amy Johnson. I just want to see my daughter. How is that hypocritical and disgusting? Shut up! Jack Thompson interrupted me harshly, shouting, "You're my wife. How could I sleep with another woman?" Emma Smith, you're slandering my reputation. Be careful, I'll sue you for defamation. I didn't back down. Fine, go ahead and sue me. Do whatever you want, but I just want to see Lucy Thompson now. If you don't hand Lucy Thompson over, I'll turn this place upside down today. Amy Johnson stepped forward, looking pitiful. Sister Emma, don't make a scene. I'm sorry, it's all my fault. I shouldn't have stayed overnight here with Jack. Vent all your anger on me. Jack is innocent. Seeing her acting so manipulative, my anger flared. I didn't care if she and Jack Thompson were having a passionate affair. I just wanted to see my daughter, but these two were constantly changing the subject. Amy Johnson continued, Sister Emma, calm down. Your health isn't good. If you get sick from anger, I'll feel bad too. Get out! I pushed her. Amy Johnson cried out and staggered back a few steps, falling to the ground. Jack Gidge, it hurts. Amy Johnson lay on the ground, tears streaming down her face, looking fragile and delicate, like a porcelain doll that would break at the slightest touch. That pretentious pose disgusted me to the extreme, but before I could say anything, a loud slap landed hard on my face. My head was thrown to the side, and my face felt like it was being burned by fire, a sharp pain quickly spreading. Emma Smith, how dare you lay a hand on Amy? Jack Thompson roared at me, his face contorted. My head was spinning, my mind blank. I didn't expect Jack Thompson to hit me for this slut. He slapped me with all his strength. Who stayed by his side when his business failed, never abandoning him, encouraging him, and taking out all her savings to help him? Who worked 3 jobs a day, enduring hardships, supporting this family through thick and thin? Who stayed up for 3 days and nights without sleep to design a satisfactory product for one of his major clients, working until she vomited blood, and finally secured the big order? And who was it that gave everything for him, finally helping him make a comeback, only to back ill from overwork and spend her days in the hospital? It was me, Emma Smith. In an instant, a river of sorrow overwhelmed me, making me feel suffocated. But I quickly got up from the ground, wiped the blood from the corner of my mouth, and stared at Jack Thompson, saying fiercely, something might have happened to Lucy Thompson. I want to see Lucy Thompson. Jack Thompson flew into a rage, his eyes shooting out flames, his roaring voice echoing throughout the villa. Emma Smith, you wicked woman, you're cursing our daughter to be in trouble for a little bit of ridiculous jealousy. How can you be so vicious? Is our daughter just a tool for you to compete for my affection? For Lucy Thompson's sake, I must teach you a lesson today. He rushed over, his hand gripping my hair like an iron clamp, followed by a fierce slap, the crisp sound reverberating in the air, my cheeks instantly swelling up. He slapped me a dozen times like a wild beast out of control, beating me into a near faint. Then he grabbed my hair and slammed my head against the wall, not stopping until I was bleeding and unconscious. Take her to the hospital. Jack Thompson wiped the blood from his hands, saying expressionlessly to the driver. Then he looked at Amy Johnson, who was cowering in the corner, trembling, and his eyes suddenly filled with tenderness. Amy, don't be afraid. Emma Smith was too much, I couldn't help but hit her. He gently stroked Amy Johnson's face. She shouldn't have pushed you. Amy Johnson was moved to tears, throwing herself into Jack Thompson's arms, crying, Jack Gidge, you're so good to me, woo-woo. Let Lucy Thompson out, let her wash up before she comes to apologize. Don't let her bring the stench of pee and poop, dirtying Amy's eyes. Jack Thompson's tone was indifferent, and the secretary replied uncomfortably. Amy Johnson leaned on Jack Thompson's arm, saying softly, Jack Gidge, you should comfort Lucy Thompson when she comes out. After all, she's so young. She must be terrified after being locked in the dark room for days. A hint of impatience flashed in Jack Thompson's eyes, his fingers gently rubbing Amy Johnson's forehead. You were so kind to feed her cake, and that little wretch bit you. She's such an ingrate. Amy, you're always so kind, that's why that little wretch takes advantage of you. These words entered the secretary's ears, her eyes filled with sarcasm and mockery. A few days ago, Mr. Thompson had brought Lucy Thompson to the villa, and Amy Johnson had pretended to feed Lucy Thompson cake. Taking advantage of Jack Thompson's inattention, Amy Johnson had pinched Lucy Thompson's thigh hard, and Lucy Thompson had bitten Amy Johnson's arm because of the pain. Then Amy Johnson, a woman in her 20s, had complained to Jack Thompson, crying and sobbing, saying that Lucy Thompson, a 3-year-old child, had bitten her. I know Lucy Thompson doesn't like me, no matter how good I am to her, it can't compare to her biological mother. Jack Gidge, I won't come here anymore, so Lucy Thompson won't hate me. Jack Thompson had immediately flown into a rage. To vent his anger for Amy Johnson, he had grabbed Lucy Thompson by one leg, held her upside down, and thrown her into the dark room. The secretary had witnessed the entire process, and even she couldn't stand it anymore. But Mr. Thompson only cared about Amy Johnson. What could a secretary say? Mr. Thompson, Mr. Thompson, Lucy Thompson, she no longer has any signs of life. The secretary suddenly ran over in a panic. Jack Thompson's face changed instantly, but he quickly calmed down, sneering, pretending, that little wretch is pretending to be dead. She's only been locked up for 5 days. How could she die? That little wretch is not easy to deal with. She's only 3 years old, and she already knows how to pretend to be dead to scare me. The sneer on Jack Thompson's face grew thicker and thicker, and he pointed at the secretary. Go tell Lucy Thompson that if she doesn't clean herself up and come over here within half an hour, I'll lock her up for another 5 days, until she doesn't dare to cause trouble anymore. The secretary trembled all over, wanting to say something, but was reprimanded by Jack Thompson. What are you still standing here for? Do you want to be punished too? Then he reached out and wrapped his arms around Amy Johnson's waist, saying gently, Amy, don't be soft-hearted and try to persuade me again. This time I must tame Lucy Thompson and make her obey me. I must make her kneel and apologize to you. Don't you dare feel sorry for her. Jack Gidge. Amy Johnson looked like she couldn't bear it. Time passed minute by minute, and Jack Thompson's face, as he held Amy Johnson, became increasingly gloomy. It's been more than half an hour. Why isn't that little beast coming over yet? She hasn't learned her lesson after being punished for so many days. Lucy Thompson, are you forcing me to disown you? Although Jack Thompson's voice was cold, there was already a hint of panic in his eyes. Amy, you wait here. I'll go see what Lucy Thompson is trying to do. I'll make her apologize to you. Jack Thompson left the room, striding towards the small dark room in the corner of the backyard. He walked faster and faster, but slowed down when he was 10 meters away, covering his nose with his hand. Why does it smell so bad? The secretary, who was following behind him, was already sweating profusely. Mr. Thompson, you should see for yourself. Jack Thompson frowned and slowly walked in with a flashlight, shining the light around, and saw a small figure curled up in the corner. He said impatiently, Lucy Thompson, I'm letting you out. Why aren't you coming out? Are you planning to stay in the dark room for the rest of your life? I'm asking you, speak up. Facing Jack Thompson's questioning, the small body remained motionless. You're still pretending to be dead, aren't you? I'm giving you a chance, and you don't want it, huh? He walked up to Lucy Thompson, the strong stench almost making him unable to open his eyes, but he still went his own way, raising his foot and kicking Lucy Thompson. You stink so much, aren't you going to wash yourself quickly? Are you deliberately trying to disgust me? He kicked with no small force, and the small body was knocked over by him. Unexpectedly, Lucy Thompson's pale face was reflected in Jack Thompson's sight. The expression on her face was horrified, her eyes and mouth were open to the maximum extent, and her eyeballs were bulging out. Her small body was twisted strangely, and her hands were a bloody mess, revealing the white bones. Jack Thompson took a few steps back in shock, his face turning pale in an instant, and his voice trembled. Who put this fake doll here to scare people? Where's Lucy Thompson? Find her. Do you think you can scare me with a doll? Am I, Jack Thompson, so easily fooled? Find her quickly. The secretary at the door wanted to slap Jack Thompson. Why was he pretending to be ignorant? Lucy Thompson was lying right in front of him, her corpse was already stinking, and he was telling her to find her. Where was she supposed to look? Mr. Thompson, Lucy Thompson, she's already dead. She's giving off the smell of a corpse. Jack Thompson's eyes suddenly glared at the secretary like a wolf. Nonsense. Are you trying to lie to me, too? It's a stinky fake doll, and you're trying to fool me? Even if I have to turn this place upside down, I'll find Lucy Thompson and make her apologize to Amy. Jack Thompson walked out angrily. Back at the villa, seeing Jack Thompson's livid face, Amy Johnson quickly went up to him, gently stroking Jack Thompson's chest. What's wrong, Jack Gidge? Did Lucy Thompson make you angry again? Don't be angry, I'm here. Jack Thompson's tightly furrowed brows relaxed slightly, and he put his arm around Amy Johnson's waist, sitting on the sofa with her, his voice still. Full of anger. She's as excessive as her mother. She pretended to be dead and ran away, using a fake doll to scare me. No matter where she runs, I'll catch her and make her apologize to you. Before long, the secretary brought up the villa's surveillance footage, the video clearly showing Lucy Thompson being locked in the dark room, from crying loudly to screaming, and gradually losing her voice. She never came out at all. But Jack Thompson still didn't believe it. The surveillance footage from the later part is all the same, it's too easy to edit it. Lucy Thompson, you're exceeding my expectations, you're only 3 years old and you already know how to edit videos, it's done so perfectly. The secretary next to him looked shocked, wishing she could crack open Jack Thompson's head to see what was inside. Bang! Jack Thompson suddenly kicked the surveillance computer away, and Amy Johnson was startled by his sudden rage, looking as frightened as a fawn. Jack Thompson quickly hugged Amy Johnson, coaxing her with tenderness. Amy, don't be afraid, I'm angry with Lucy Thompson, she's being so outrageous, Emma Smith must have taught her. Don't worry, I'll catch Lucy Thompson before your birthday, and then I'll make her and Emma Smith apologize to you in front of everyone. Amy Johnson's eyes were full of smugness, and she placed a kiss on Jack Thompson's forehead. It was as light as a dragonfly skimming the water, but it made Jack Thompson feel like he had drunk honey, his face full of sweetness. These days, Jack Thompson seems to have completely forgotten about his daughter. He was personally involved in arranging an unforgettable birthday party for Amy Johnson, running around everywhere. He spent a lot of money to invite a famous band to perform at her birthday. He also asked people to pull strings to get Amy Johnson's favorite male celebrity to record a birthday greeting video for her. It was ironic that he was now spending so much money, which all came from me. When I first married Jack Thompson, his foreign trade company was heavily in debt and on the verge of bankruptcy. I took out all my savings, sold the 2 houses my parents had left me, and filled the financial gap for Jack Thompson. Then I asked my classmates who were developing overseas for help, introducing many clients to Jack Thompson and securing life-saving orders for him. Jack Thompson's company was revived, becoming bigger and bigger, and in just a few years, he accumulated assets of more than $1 billion. He became a rising star in the business world, admired by all, and I was sincerely happy for him. On our 4th wedding anniversary, Jack Thompson stood on a long carpet covered with roses, embracing me deeply. "Emma, you stood by me through thick and thin, and now I promise you wealth and happiness. I only love you, forever and always." At that time, I was moved to tears, thinking that the hard times were over. But I was completely wrong. With the appearance of Amy Johnson, Jack Thompson changed completely. He shattered the promises he had made to me, piecing them back together and giving them to Amy Johnson. Even his daughter Lucy Thompson was less important than one of Amy Johnson's fingers in his heart. When I saw through everything, my heart was as dead as ashes towards Jack Thompson. The only thing that still tied us together was our daughter Lucy Thompson. Usually, I took care of Lucy Thompson myself. If it hadn't been for my hospital treatment, I wouldn't have agreed to let Jack Thompson take her away. But these past few days in the hospital, I had felt uneasy, with a sense of foreboding. Until I had a nightmare, dreaming that Lucy Thompson was covered in blood, begging me for help. I pulled out all the tubes and rushed to the mountain villa to ask Jack Thompson for my daughter. But that beast beat me unconscious, and I, already seriously ill, was sent to the emergency room for resuscitation. But Jack Thompson didn't give up looking for Lucy though. He mobilized a large number of people to conduct a carpet search around the mountain villa. But several days passed, and he still hadn't found anything. The night before Amy Johnson's birthday party, Jack Thompson drank some wine and was a little drunk. He hugged Amy Johnson, apologizing. "I don't know where Lucy Thompson is hiding. I couldn't catch her and make her apologize to you. Amy, you've been wronged." It was ridiculous that he had mobilized so many people to look for Lucy Thompson, not because he was worried about Lucy Thompson's safety, but just to make her apologize to Amy Johnson. Amy Johnson nestled against him, her tone gentle. "Jack Gidge, as long as you're good to me, it doesn't matter if Lucy Thompson apologizes or not. She's just a 3-year-old child. I won't hold it against her. Since we can't find her here, she must have gone to a relative's house. Jack, don't be too hard on her. Lucy Thompson is so cute. I like her very much too. I've always treated her like my own daughter." Jack Thompson was deeply moved, tightly holding Amy Johnson's hand. "Why are you always so kind, always thinking of others? Amy, what other wishes do you have? Tell me, and I'll help you fulfill them." Amy Johnson narrowed her eyes. "I've always wanted to buy a beachfront villa in Hawaii, decorated exactly as we imagined as kids." Jack Thompson, moved to tears by her words, held her tighter. Buying a beachfront villa was his childhood dream, and Amy Johnson still remembered. All these years, she had been working hard abroad, just to fulfill his childhood dream. "Amy, I'm so lucky to have you." Jack Thompson's voice choked with emotion as he buried his face in her hair. Amy Johnson gently stroked him. "Jack Thompson, I've saved a lot of money abroad over the years, enough to buy a beachfront villa. But due to some issues, my funds are frozen, so I was hoping to borrow your money first, and I'll pay you back when my funds are released." "How much do you need?" $50 million. Jack Thompson stiffened. $50 million was a fortune. That was pretty much everything he had in his account. Seeing his hesitation, Amy Johnson quickly said, "Never mind, Jack Thompson, that's too much. I don't want to put you in a difficult position. I'll just wait until my funds are released. But Jack Thompson shook his head, his eyes filled with determination. Amy, I'll get it for you. I was unconscious in the hospital for 2 days and 2 nights. When I woke up, I discharged myself against the advice of the doctors and nurses. Mommy, it's so dark in here, and there are big rats. Eneen is so scared. Mommy, I want to get out, but I can't open the door. My fingers are all scraped up, bleeding so much. Eneen hurts so much. Mommy, why aren't you coming to save me? Eneen is going to die. The scenes from my dreams flashed through my mind, and my heart twisted with pain. Eneen, please be okay. I called the kindergarten teacher first, who told me that Eneen hadn't been to school. I contacted all my relatives, everyone who might know Eneen, but without exception, none of them had seen her. Eneen, where are you? I knelt on the ground, gazing at the heavens, tears blurring my vision. Just then, a call came in. Sister-in-law, this is Lisa Green, Jack Thompson's secretary. I know where Eneen is. The grand birthday banquet kicked off at the mountain villa with a lively atmosphere. The place was packed. Jack Thompson had invited every relative and friend he could. He wanted to show the world his love for Amy Johnson. The birthday banquet went viral online, streamed live, and was trending on multiple platforms. Tycoon splurges, celebrates White Moonlight's birthday in high style. $1 million birthday cake, so jealous. In the viral videos, Jack Thompson and Amy Johnson gazed deeply into each other's eyes, a 25-layer custom cake beside them. These 25 layers represent the 20-5 years since we met. Each layer is filled with our story, filled with what I want to say to you. Jack Thompson gazed at Amy Johnson with deep affection, and in front of everyone, he said, word by word, Amy, may I read it to you? Amy Johnson, already moved to tears in the camera, covered her mouth with both hands and nodded vigorously. Jack Thompson, inhaling the sweet scent of the cake, said with deep emotion, the day we first met was a sunny afternoon. Although I was only 5 years old, I still remember clearly that you were wearing a white shirt, with cute pigtails. You were like a beautiful melody, quietly entering my life, and from then on, every note touched my heart. Jack Thompson's affectionate confession, accompanied by released balloons, moved every guest present, and the internet exploded. The tycoon's confession, so touching. Murder! Help! This is too romantic. Are you trying to trick us into watching this lovey-dovey stuff? I can't help it, it's too touching. I can only wish you happiness. Amidst the noise, the scene seemed to ignite, burning with passion. Everyone's face glowed with excitement, cheers, laughter, and applause mingled together, creating a lively scene. At that moment, Eneen was still curled up in the lonely, cold, and dark room, motionless, her pale face contrasting with the dried, dark red bloodstains. Her dull hair was messy and covered with dust, and the bare bones of her fingers reflected a faint light. All around was endless darkness and silence, as if forgotten by the whole world. As Jack Thompson's confession gradually progressed, the atmosphere of the birthday banquet reached a climax. At this moment, he had already come to Amy Johnson and slowly said in a hoarse, affectionate voice, Amy, I want to spend the rest of my life by your side, listening to your joys and sorrows, and experiencing the storms and rainbows with you. Darling, Jack Thompson trembled, and Amy Johnson also trembled. With everyone present and hundreds of thousands of people watching the live broadcast, holding their breaths, he was finally about to say those 3 words. Just then, I rushed into the villa like a madwoman with a large group of people. The lively atmosphere was destroyed, and Jack Thompson's eyes flickered fiercely when he saw me in the crowd. Smith, Emma Smith, if you can't have my heart, you're going to make a scene in this kind of situation? And you brought all your relatives? Are you trying to force my hand? Jack Thompson's face turned grim. I didn't even look at him, rushing directly to the backyard of the villa. Go to the little dark room, Een is there. This time I brought all my relatives, and no one can stop me. Stop them! Jack Thompson snorted coldly, and his bodyguards immediately stepped forward. Damn it, who dares to stop us? I'll kill whoever does. My two cousins drew two shiny machetes from their waists, roaring with hideous faces. Jack Thompson's bodyguards backed away in fright. This scene made everyone present look at each other, not knowing what was happening. I rushed into the backyard with people, heading for the little dark room in the corner. With every step, my body trembled a little more, because I already smelled a stench, a nauseating stench of corpses. Een, Mommy is here to save you. I ran over crying, and everyone worked together to smash open the locked door. When the sunlight shone into the little dark room, everyone was shocked. Een was curled up in the cold corner, her face as pale as paper, her dull eyes bulging grotesquely, as if still telling of the last fear before her death. Een, I roared heart-wrenchingly, and the whole world seemed to collapse in an instant. At this moment, time stood still, breathing stopped, and the pain in my heart was like a raging tsunami, engulfing me with overwhelming force. Jack Thompson, who followed, slowly collapsed when he saw the scene, as if all his strength had been drained. Why? Een, is that Een? He gasped like a fish out of water. Een was taken away for an autopsy. I fainted several times, heartbroken. Until the last time, I forced myself to pull myself together, looking at Jack Thompson, who was kneeling on the ground, wishing I could eat his flesh and drink his blood. How could this happen? How could this happen? He stared blankly at the narrow room, his face pale. I only locked Een up for 5 days. I gave her water. How could she? What exactly is going on? How could Een meet with misfortune? The relatives and guests at the banquet all looked incredulous. What's going on? I looked around at everyone, gritting my teeth, and said, I'll tell you what's going on, it's all Jack Thompson's fault. A few days ago, I was hospitalized for treatment, and he took my daughter over, just because my daughter bit his first love, Amy Johnson. This beast is ungrateful and locked my daughter in this little dark room. Locked the doors and windows. How scared she must have been, locked in this cold and dark little room. Een was desperately shouting, desperately struggling, begging for help, but Jack Thompson, this beast, turned a deaf ear and frolicked in the villa with his white moonlight. Een was afraid. She scratched the door with her hands, her fingers were bleeding, her flesh was blurred, and her bones were exposed, but she still couldn't open the door. Looking at the bloody scratches on the wall, my heart ached so much I couldn't breathe. I couldn't imagine how much pain and despair Een experienced when she scratched the door with her bloody fingers. As I explained little by little, everyone's eyes towards Jack Thompson changed, becoming angry. Jack Thompson, look at these scratches, look at the pain Een went through. I grabbed Jack Thompson's hair and slammed his face hard against the wall. Looking at the bloody scratches, each one filled with misery and despair, Jack Thompson covered his face and sat on the ground, crying bitterly. Een, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Jack Thompson burst into tears. Looking at his tearful face, I felt disgusted. It's Een bit Amy first. I just wanted to punish her a little. I didn't expect it to turn out like this. Jack Thompson muttered in pain. You're still blaming Een at this point? Do you know what the truth is? I looked at Jack Thompson, wishing I could cut off his flesh piece by piece. At this moment, his secretary came out of the crowd. President Thompson, the truth is that Amy Johnson, that bitch, secretly pinched Een's thigh, and Een bit her. Impossible! Jack Thompson stood up suddenly and roared at the secretary. You're talking nonsense. Amy is so kind. How could she do such a thing? President Thompson, this is the surveillance video. You'll understand when you watch it. The video provided by the secretary clearly showed Amy Johnson smiling and feeding Eneen cake on the surface, but her other hand was pinching Eneen's thigh hard. Eneen cried in pain, but Amy Johnson refused to let go. Helpless, Eneen bit her. Jack Thompson's eyes widened as he watched the video, his eyes almost popping out. The gentle and kind Amy Johnson in his mind was such a vicious person. President Thompson, that's not all. After Eneen was locked in the little dark room, Amy Johnson secretly put a few rats into the little dark room while you were out. This is what I discovered after restoring the complete surveillance video. The secretary provided a second video. Jack Thompson was dumbfounded after watching it, as if half of his belief had collapsed, and Amy Johnson's image in his mind had completely changed. Adding a few rats in such a small, dark room, no wonder Eneen was so scared and wanted to get out so desperately. Thinking of this, I covered my chest, my heart aching so much I couldn't breathe. The surrounding relatives couldn't stand it anymore and rushed up, "Oring, beast! Kill him! Kill this scumbag, animal!" My relatives grabbed Jack Thompson's collar, and fists and feet fell on him like raindrops. Before long, Jack Thompson was lying on the ground, his body trembling non-stop. His face was bruised and swollen beyond recognition, his right eye was tightly closed, covered in blood, and blood oozed from the wound at the corner of his eye. Suddenly, Jack Thompson stood up from the ground and roared like a madman, "Amy Johnson! Where is Amy Johnson? I want to kill her!" Amy Johnson had already escaped in the chaos. She took the money Jack Thompson gave her and bought a flight to Hawaii, leaving at 3 p.m. But after being reminded by the secretary, I had already called the police, and the police were waiting for her at the airport. In the afternoon, everyone dispersed, and I was still squatting in the little dark room. I was afraid Eneen would be scared alone. I wanted to be here with her. I was also waiting for news of Amy Johnson's arrest. The only thing that was supporting me now was avenging Eneen. Jack Thompson and Amy Johnson wouldn't escape, and if the law couldn't punish them, then I would use my way. Being here, I felt Eneen's mood at that time. What a dark and small room, how scared the little her must have been. Her father, who had always been indifferent to her, suddenly took her to this villa, and she was overjoyed. I still remember Eneen happily saying that she was going to play at her father's villa, and that her father's villa had a big garden where she could pick fragrant flowers and see beautiful butterflies. She was happiest that she could be with her father, which had been her long-held dream. She was looking forward to her father spending time with her. When she was alone with her father, what would she be thinking? She would be smiling sweetly, happily sharing some interesting things in her life, and sharing some of her well-behaved and sensible moments. Maybe Eneen was only thinking about how to please her father. But when she happily followed her father to this villa, she met a vicious woman. That woman pinched her hard, and Eneen cried with tears in her eyes, but the woman refused to let go and pinched her harder and harder. When her father came, Eneen must have felt wronged and wanted to complain to her father. But before she could say anything, her father picked her up with an angry face and locked her in the little dark room. When her father's figure disappeared, her world fell into darkness, and she must have been extremely scared. She was so small, all alone in the dark little room, longing for light, longing for her father's figure. She believed that her father was only punishing her for a while and would let her out. But she waited and waited, and waited until the world became darker and darker, but she didn't wait for her father. In the small room that the vicious woman put rats in, how scared Eneen, who was usually most afraid of rats, must have been. She shouted desperately, slammed on the door, and desperately wanted to escape, but the doors and windows were all locked. She could only scratch with her hands, claw with her hands, and scratch with her hands until they were bloody. Her fingers were piercingly painful, and she was thirsty and hungry, finally unable to hold on and fell. At the last moment of her life, how much she must have longed for her father and mother to protect her. My poor Eneen! Mommy only regrets that she couldn't fly over to protect you at that time. If I could, Mommy would have taken all of this for you. Tears blurred my vision again and again, and I felt heartbroken again and again. It is said that people have souls after death. Een, is your soul here? Can you see Mommy? Can you come out and see Mommy? Mommy misses you so much. I waited from day to night, but I didn't get the news that Amy Johnson had been arrested. The police said that Amy Johnson may have sensed the danger and did not appear at T. He airport, but was hiding in the city. Now the police are closely monitoring all the exits from the city, and as long as Amy Johnson leaves the city, they will arrest her. Een, it seems that it will take some twists and turns to avenge you, I murmured. In the days that followed, I stayed in the little dark room. Every day and night, I was like a walking corpse, feeling Enyan's mood before her death over and over again, and reminiscing about Enyan's voice and smile again and again. I was also waiting for news of Amy Johnson from the police. But after waiting for 5 days in a row, there was still no news of Amy Johnson. Een, Mommy will avenge you. If the police can't find her, then Mommy will find Amy Johnson, too. On the 6th day, there was still no news, so I packed up my mood and slowly stood up. I was ready to leave the little dark room and go find Amy Johnson. I carried a sharp knife with me, and I would kill Amy Johnson when I saw her. I didn't care about life or death anymore, I just wanted to avenge Een. But just as I was about to go out, Jack Thompson appeared. He looked like a different person after only a few days, with a haggard face, gray hair, and looking like he had aged more than 10 years. He also brought back a person, the person that surprised me, the person the police had been searching for, Amy Johnson. Amy Johnson was tied up, and Jack Thompson dragged her by the hair like a dead dog to the front of the little dark room. Brother Jack Thompson, please let me go, I didn't mean it. She looked panicked and frightened, begging Jack Thompson bitterly. Brother Jack Thompson, I am Amy, don't you recognize me? Jack Thompson, let go, I am the woman you love the most. We grew up together and have countless beautiful memories. You said you would take care of me for the rest of your life. However, Jack Thompson was like he were in a nightmare. No matter how Amy Johnson begged, he was expressionless and unmoved. Under my cold gaze, Jack Thompson brought 2 buckets of gasoline. He poured one of them all over Amy Johnson. Brother Jack Thompson, what are you going to do? Don't do anything stupid. Isn't it Justine? What is she? We too have money, let's fly away, go abroad to buy a villa, and live a paradise-like life from now on. Amy Johnson was terrified, her eyes filled with deep fear. Let me go, Jack Thompson, let me go, she shouted, struggling desperately. Unfortunately, the thick rope was tightly bound around her, and no matter how hard she struggled, it was useless. After doing all this, Jack Thompson sat aside, staring at her intently, as if he were admiring her struggle before death. I was also admiring it, and Amy Johnson was experiencing the same despair as my daughter. I don't know how long it took, but Amy Johnson's voice became hoarse, and she could only make vague sounds in her throat. Her struggling clothes were torn, and there were bloody marks on her body. The time has come, Amy Johnson, I'll send you on your way. Jack Thompson took the lighter and walked towards Amy Johnson step by step. Amy Johnson's eyes were terrified, like a frightened deer, looking around in fear, trying to find a glimmer of hope to escape, but darkness ruthlessly enveloped her. Boom! Jack Thompson threw out the lighter, and a raging fire immediately rose on Amy Johnson's body, covered in gasoline. The scorching flames ruthlessly wrapped around her body, her face twisted with jealous pain, every muscle was spasming, her eyes were wide open, full of fear and despair. Until the end, Amy Johnson became a charred corpse in front of the door of the little dark room. I finally breathed a sigh of relief. Een, did you see it? This evil woman who killed you has been executed, dying miserably. Of course, things were not over yet. I picked up the other bucket of gasoline, looked at Jack Thompson, and said with gritted teeth, "Jack Thompson, it's your turn." Jack Thompson had a flash of pain in high eyes, but then he smiled and said, "Emma Smith, I'll do it myself." Under my gaze, Jack Thompson poured gasoline on himself over and over again, like he was taking a shower. He kept looking at me, his eyes filled with guilt and apology. All I gave him back was endless coldness. Until the whole bucket of gasoline was poured on him, Jack Thompson waved his hand, as if he were saying goodbye to the world. Finally, he glanced at the little dark room and lit the lighter. When the raging flames engulfed his whole body, Jack Thompson became a fireman. He used all his strength and made a hoarse, painful voice in the flames, "Emma Smith, can you forgive me? Give me a chance to atone for my sins in the next life." Looking at the fireman in front of me, the scorching temperature was roasting me, the crackling sound was ravaging my eardrums, and the burnt smell made me frown. "No!" When I said these two words, the fireman, who was still standing hard, collapsed to the ground with a bang. "Eneen, the two people who killed you are all dead. You wait for Mommy, Mommy will come to you soon. Mommy couldn't protect you in the world, but Mommy will go to heaven to protect you." Relationship, the gap in our lives, the difference in our personalities, and even secretly told about Grandpa Thompson's intentional injury. The police finally concluded that Billy intentionally injured someone but failed, and injured himself. He was responsible for the consequences. He was responsible for the medical expenses. It was said that when he heard the police's conclusion in the hospital, he yelled that he wanted to kill the police. Listen, he was full of himself. He dared to say anything. The police finally warned Billy's parents that if they didn't educate him well, they could only send him to someone to educate him. The people in the countryside cheered "Long live the police," helping them educate a social scum. They scolded Grandma Thompson's family for being unworthy parents and elders, raising a bad seed who even wanted to kill the police. Mom Hudson listened to Aunt Miller and laughed so hard that she bent over, tears came out, and finally she covered her stomach and rolled on the bed. After Aunt Miller left, she stopped laughing and asked me, "What if you hadn't tripped him with that foot?" I stared and said, "How is that possible? That foot of mine has been tempered 1,000 times, and even the coach praised me for learning the essence." Mom Hudson looked at me silently and said, "Well, I have to call the coach. This self-defense technique still needs to be learned. What if we encounter bad seeds again?" I wailed, "Mom, I have learned the essence. Can't you let me go?" After I recovered from my injury, Mom Hudson thought that no one was protecting us, so she had me learn women's self-defense techniques from an early age. I am so smart and eager to learn. Of course, I learn everything and become something. This learning hasn't ended yet. 3 years later, I finally got into my dream state university with a high score of 685. On the first day Mom Hudson received my admission letter, she started to prepare and busy herself. She hired people to prepare my Grandpa Hudson and Grandma Hudson's Hudson family burial plot, set off firecrackers around the graves, thanking the ancestors for their blessing. Our family's luck has turned around. She also hired people to level the old house that had been locked for 10 years, rebuild a new house, and first build a 10-foot-high fence. The Grandma Thompson's family behind the house could only look at our high fence, stomping their feet in anger. She also invited the mayor to host a 3-day block party, and even the stray cats and dogs at the entrance of the countryside had a table of meat to eat. Only Grandma Thompson's family wasn't allowed to sit at the table. Some people discussed, "Who says girls are inferior to boys? How many years has it been since equality between men and women? My family's daughters will also go to college in the future." Others ridiculed, "I don't know what the old young family is thinking, picking up a slut and treating her like a treasure, driving out the capable mother and daughter." Still others gossiped, "She can have an affair once during marriage, who knows if she will find another sugar daddy?" The word spread more and more, and even Lisa Ford was pointed at when she went out. Later, it was discovered by someone with ulterior motives that she had slept with old Zhang, the slaughter knife at the entrance of the countryside. Dad Thompson caught Lisa Ford red-handed with red eyes, but she dressed calmly and said, "You are incompetent and accuse me of seducing people outside. Didn't you say that about that dead ghost back then?" Lisa Ford's mistake was that she shouldn't have underestimated the explosiveness of an honest man. Dad Thompson, who was completely humiliated, finally picked up the slaughter knife and killed Lisa Ford like he was cutting livestock. Billy, who witnessed his dad killing his mom, completely went crazy. Their family's affairs made the headlines in the news. Dad Thompson and Grandpa Thompson took the S.A. path of no return. Grandma Thompson took care of her crazy grandson alone at home and was occasionally subjected to his attacks. It was said that life was unbearable. Mom Hudson and I went to a new city and started our new life. There, Mom Hudson opened a specialty fish restaurant, and the manager was Aunt Miller, formerly Widow Lou. She had been working under Mom Hudson for a long time. From the time the child was lost, Grandpa Thompson was completely arrested, and all the secrets were told to Mom Hudson by Aunt Miller. She was once imprisoned by Grandpa Thompson, who threatened her with his murder of her old father-in-law. Grandpa Thompson certainly didn't expect that two women who were treated unfairly by fate would join forces. And the weapon he wanted to control others with became the weapon that killed him. Who can tell about karma? Mom Hudson and Aunt Miller laughed and talked about the past and today, raising their glasses and drinking together. The hurdles that they once thought they couldn't overcome, one day they would laugh about them. Just like what it said in the Shawshank Redemption, suffering is only temporary, and the future is even more promising.